All right.
All right.
So, Reformation.
Yep.
Love the Reformation. Quite an expert in the Reformation.
I am an expert.
Well, okay. I meant me. I wrote a poem.
Oh, yeah, I know. I heard the poem.
It was good. It was excellent, I thought.
It was all right.
Anyway, to understand the Reformation, you start 1517. That's when it all kicks off.
No.
Well, yeah. 1517, Luther bangs his thing on the door and kicks off the Reformation.
Yeah, but you don't understand it by starting there.
Well, what do you mean?
You've got to understand the dark days before 1517, before he banged his thing on the door.
What dark days?
Dark days, mate.
Dark?
Yeah.
How dark?
Well, the medieval time was dark. It was dark.
Well, what sort of dark?
Well, really dark.
Well, where does it start then? What do we need to start with?
Like, for instance, right, just for one thing, in 1347, the bubonic plague spread all over Europe. In 3 years, a whole third of Europe dead through a rat. You're
telling me to understand the Reformation, I've got to understand that rat.
That rat.
It's not even a rat, it's a mouse.
Well, it is a mouse, but it's a rat.
All right, fine.
Because the little things on the rat bit the things. And
so the plague?
Yeah, the plague, yeah. Bubonic plague.
A third of Western Europe were killed, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, dark days, mate.
That is dark. Dark suffering.
Dark.
Imagine a third of London, that's serious. But at least there was the church.
Dark.
Well, the church was dark.
The Roman Catholic Church ruled all of Western Europe, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. Dark.
The Catholic Church.
No light in that, mate.
Well, they were there in the communities.
There was dark.
There was the priest, there was the church on a Sunday. People would gather together.
Most of them didn't know anything about the Bible. It was dark.
Well, at least they were reading the Bible.
Yeah, but in what language did they read it? All over Europe.
Well, it was Latin, wasn't it? I mean,
do you know Latin?
Well,
I bet you when you were at Oxford, you probably had to say things in Latin.
Yes.
You? Yeah. Like what? Give us something you said in Latin.
Benignissima parte qui providente ture regis liberatati pascis.
Pasci?
Oh, I forgot it.
What is that then? What is that?
Don't know.
You don't know what it is?
I don't know what it means.
You can't even remember it.
No.
And the bits you can remember, you don't know what you mean. Well, that was like the priests. They were doing services, yeah, that the normal bloke would come to.
Right.
Yeah. Like before Luther would go to, yeah. And it was he spoke German, didn't he, Luther?
Right, yeah.
German.
Yeah.
And the service would be in Latin, so all of these Germans didn't know what the priest was going on about. And the priest didn't even know what he was going on about. Like you don't know what you're going on about. Dark days, mate.
That is dark.
Yeah, it's dark.
Huh. Well, at least there was the Pope.
Dark.
I mean, well, the head of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
You know, there was the one figurehead who could trace his roots back to Peter.
Rubbish.
The Pope had authority. The Pope spoke like the very word of God.
Yeah, but one time, there were 3 popes, and they were all arguing with each other and saying...
There was never 3 popes.
Yes, there was.
There was never 3 popes.
One said...
One pope.
No.
This is how it worked.
Yeah.
The Pope died, they get a new one. That's how it worked. There was never 3 popes.
There was 3 popes.
There was never 3
There
popes.
was times where there was 3 popes. There was Mad Pope, whatever his name is. I bet you know his name.
Urban.
Yeah, Urban the Mad.
The 6th. Urban the 6th, I think his name was.
But known to me by Urban the Nuthead.
This was 1300 and...
Well, I don't know, mate,
something.
but you know history because you went to Oxford.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you should know that he was mad.
Yeah.
Then they elected another pope.
Another one?
Yeah, another
Right.
one at the same time. And he said he was not a pope. He said he was not the pope. He was a heretic. He was a heretic. And then they elected a third one. There was a time, there was 3 popes all ruling, saying that they were the only one from God.
Dark.
Dark, mate.
So even the popes were dark.
Dark, yeah.
No, that's right, because there was... Oh, what was that one called?
Alexander.
Alexander the 6th. They're all the 6th. I don't know what happened to the first
Dirty
one.
dark bloke.
He had a lot of kids, a lot of women.
Dirty man. Dark.
Okay, so the popes were dark.
Yeah, dark, yeah.
But there were preachers.
Dark.
Well, there was a preacher called Johann Tetzel.
Pretzel.
Tetzel. Tetzel.
A pretzel's German.
Don't know. Don't care.
What?
Tetzel, right? Forget the pretzel, Tetzel.
Tetzel, yeah.
Tetzel was preaching sermons.
Oh.
Yes.
I've got one of his sermons down here.
Yeah.
I tell you, yeah. Mate, you think you know everything because you went to Oxford. Well, I've got one of his sermons.
Okay.
I bet you don't know it. You see, you're saying he's good, but listen to what he says.
Okay.
As soon as the coin in the offertory rings...
A soul from Purgatory Springs. Ha ha ha! Boom!
All right.
Come on, bring on. Another one.
Place your penny on the drum.
The pearly gates open and in strolls Mum.
Well, what's that all about then?
Well, he's saying that when someone dies,
Yeah.
they go to purgatory.
Yeah.
Right? Purgatory, it's not heaven, it's not hell, it's a place where you pay for your sin.
Yeah.
You're punished a bit.
Dark, isn't it? Dark. What did Jesus do?
Well, I guess he paid for our sin, didn't he?
Yeah, so it's dark days, isn't it?
So
Even
purgatory-
preachers are dark.
Oh, okay. So
And he's saying that you get there, out of purgatory, into heaven by money. And what do they use the money for? You know.
well, they were building big cathedrals and
Dark.
it is dark.
Dark days.
And so the common people that didn't understand what was happening
No.
and were paying money
Yeah.
to
To go to heaven. And,
That
they,
is
and they
dark.
were poor because they didn't have any money because they had the plague. Dark days, mate.
Dark
And
days.
another thing.
What?
Muslims.
Well, what?
What you know about the Muslims?
Well,
The otters.
Ottoman Muslims were rising up,
Yeah.
and that was a threat to the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church were
Fighting them.
very concerned and were fighting them.
Yeah.
That's the Crusades. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
not preaching them at them, were they? They were killing
No,
them.
killing them.
Yeah.
That is dark.
It's dark, mate.
Dark days.
Dark days.